Hi guys, and welcome back to Unifying Device Discovery and Inventory in the Cato Management application. In this lesson, we're going to talk about zero trust policies with device attributes, how you can build rules around attributes like type or manufacturer or category to really apply a zero trust policy to all your IoT and OT devices in your infrastructure. You can use it to segment and block and really secure and track IoT and OT devices in your infrastructure. Then you can use it to validate impacts and look at events within your security firewall to see what your IoT and OT devices are doing and how you can make sure that you're applying the appropriate security posture. Okay, let's get started. So first and foremost, just a quick little refresh, device inventory, device dashboard, right on home. This is where you get all that rich information. What we're going to talk about is directly on the internet firewall today, though. So let me get started in there. So you can go to security and internet firewall. I built a couple firewall rules. Before I do that, I want to show you the options. And you can do this on the WAN or the internet firewall, or both, right? If you really wanted to lock it down, I would do it on both, so you can ensure that not only can those IoT, and OT devices not communicate to the internet if you don't want them to, but they can also communicate internally in your organization. So we're going to go new rule here. You can name it whatever you want, but I'm just going to quickly show you the under criteria and device attributes. This is where you can look. You can do category here, and you can say I want to block all mobile phones, OT, networking. So you can do these large allow or blocks in under category if you wanted to, and then the type. You can be able to pull up the individual type if you wanted to. So what manufacturer, and I'll show you a little bit more on that. Do you support in your organization? What manufacturer do you want to block? And so you can do that here about the types. These are the types. So like the types of phones, types of access control systems, batteries, CCTV, those type of things, DVR. So you can do it by, types of IoT and OT devices. So manufacturer, which I got ahead of myself, this is where you can actually put in, like, we're a access camera shop, we're a Linnell access control shop, we're a Cisco networking shop. So you can allow and type in certain manufacturers here if you want to either block or allow them to be able to have that in your device attributes category. And then obviously you can do OS and or model number. So you can get down to the individual model number if you wanted to of a device to block or allow it. And then you can also use the OS. So a lot of powerful attributes to provide to your firewall to really get a zero trust security posture within your IoT and OT environment. Great. And then you apply that and then do block or allow at the bottom like you would any internet or WAN firewall rule. So let me take a step back and give you just this very sample view of what you could do with your firewall. And before you do this, test this right in your environment. Make sure that it's the appropriate one. This is just a sample idea. Okay, so the first thing I did in my environment is I blocked IoT and OT. So let me show you what that looks like. So in this one, I'm saying, all right, I'm going to block everything in these categories: IoT, mobile, networking, OT, just a general block. And so then I have block set up under my actions. So I'm saying block all those. And that's below my next firewall rule. And then, all right, from now I have block everything. But before that, I'm approving our company policy-based approved vendors. So in this case, I have Apple for my phones. That's what we use. So no Android in my environment. I have access cameras. So no other rogue camera systems from China or from other areas. Only access is approved on our infrastructure. We have Cisco switching. If anyone brings in a TP-Link or a home router, not allowed. We have a Linnell access control system. Anything else is not allowed. And then we have some Siemens UPS in our closets, and so those are allowed. Anything else is not allowed. So if it hits this and gets approved, it moves on. And then below that, it's going to block it. So just a sample idea to get something that you can apply to match your security posture in your environment to ensure that you're blocking the appropriate IoT and OT vendors and communications that you want, or monitoring those. You could even set this, if you didn't want to be as harsh, just to monitor. Say I want to monitor anything that's really outside of our approved vendors to see what's happening. So maybe in this case, I'll go back and say, all right, so I want to start with this and I want to actually monitor this, or prompt them, or put a captive portal if I wanted to for that. So in this case, maybe I'll do a prompt, right? So I can go boom, the action is prompt, right? So that I can see what happens, and they get prompted to say, hey, this is potentially not an approved vendor. So you've got some options as far as how you want to provide that action associated with unapproved vendors. Okay. Great. In summary, let's just go back here. We talked about zero trust policies with device attributes. What you can do on your firewall to be able to block and allow certain types of IoT and IT manufacturers to be able to apply a zero trust security posture with your IoT and IT using the Cato CMA. Thanks so much. Hope this was helpful.